Shri Jagdeep Dhankhar, Honorable Vice President of India, Ms. Gloria Salomon, President of the ICC International Court of Arbitration, Mr. Alexander Fessus, Secretary General of the ICC International Court of Arbitration and Director of ICC's Dispute Resolution Services, distinguished speakers, moderators, ladies and gentlemen, a very warm welcome to the 6th ICC India Arbitration Day and the centenary celebration of the ICC Court in India. My name is Tejas Chauhan and I am the Regional Director of the ICC. Before we begin, may I request all of you to please stand up for the national anthem.
जन गण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड उत्कल गंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उज्जल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
Thank you. I would now like to invite Mr. Alexander Fessus, Secretary General of the ICC Court, to deliver the welcome address and open the conference.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Your Excellency, Madam President, distinguished colleagues and friends. It is with great pleasure that stand here before you this morning to open the 6th ICC India International Arbitration Conference. The culmination of a week of activities, as has now become customary for the end-of-year trip of our delegation to Delhi. This has been a very productive week. We had the opportunity to engage with many of you across law firms, across state-owned entities, across private businesses, to spread the word of sound and excellent dispute resolution service provisions, to continue on the path that we have already started about a year ago when we were carving out the ICC's declaration, centenary declaration for the next century of dispute prevention and resolution, in ensuring, amongst the 10 pledges that are included since therein, 2 which I think are quite important for all of us here today. Number 1, a global community. The fact that ICC is international, a truly international institution, means that it unites parties, their representatives, arbitrators, and everybody else who participates in that phenomenon which is called the dispute resolution process together across frontiers and across different legal systems with one common goal: to ensure that access to justice can be safeguarded and to promote the rule of law. Ultimately, this is the founding mission that the ICC Court came to serve as of January 1923 when it came into existence in Paris. And it has indeed furthered that goal ever since, across frontiers and around the globe. It is with that in mind, of course, that I would also like to share with you the second point, which I think is equally important, and that is our ability to forge together the future of disputes. And we know that today, across many different challenges that businesses, states, state-owned entities, and practitioners face, the administration of justice can be challenged. It can be sometimes quite onerous because court systems are clogged. And this is where the value proposition of ICC arbitration and ADR come into play. And much beyond traditional arbitration, we will be working with all of you, of course, in ensuring that we can provide the type of services and the type of reliefs that parties need in order to go back to doing business. I would not want to spend too much more time from the wonderful remarks of His Excellency and, of course, Claudia. There is one thing, however, that I think speaks squarely and quite fittingly, I think, back into the idea of the global community that I've just described. When Claudia and I had the opportunity to first meet His Excellency, he was very quick to remind us of his term as ICC Court President, ICC Court member for India many years ago. And it was to my complete and utter amazement and surprise that I stood in the center of Delhi listening to the benefits that ICC arbitration, the work that the court conducts through scrutiny, and the value that that instills in the whole process from the mouth of the Vice President of this country. That is a memory that I will always hold extremely dear, and I wanted to share with all of you here today. Thank you all very much for being here, and I hope you will enjoy and learn from this conference today.
Thank you, Mr. Fessis. I would now like to invite the President of the ICC International Court of Arbitration and the first woman to lead the ICC Court in its 100 years, Ms. Claudia Salomon, to deliver her special address.
Good morning. We are very, very honored to have the Honorable Vice President of India here with us. This is an especially important and special occasion because this year we are celebrating the centenary of the ICC Court of Arbitration. On the 19th of January in 1923, a pioneering group of entrepreneurs recognized and believed that they could promote peace through cross-border trade, but they understood that if there was to be more cross-border trade, there needed to be a mechanism that could resolve cross-border disputes. And so they founded the ICC International Court of Arbitration, and on the 19th of January of this year, we launched the centenary with a declaration, as Alex described, of the future of dispute prevention and dispute resolution services. So it is very special that as we have focused on the history of ICC for the last 100 years, we have focused on what we are currently doing, but we have most importantly focused on the future, that we end almost this year with this very special moment in India, because it represents for us what we stand for. It represents, as Alex described, our global community and reach. It recognizes our commitment to capacity building and training and education. It represents for us diversity, equity, and inclusion. It represents for us our absolute core mission. And I know that core mission is a shared core mission of the Vice President. It's a shared core mission of this country, which is to assure access to justice and the rule of law. And so today I stand here in celebration, but with an eye to the future. And I can say, as I am looking out in this audience, the future is now, and the future is India. ICC arbitration provides for Indian parties a trusted dispute resolution services. It provides for the private sector. It provides for the public sector a mechanism that is independent and impartial. It provides a mechanism that Indian arbitrators are engaged in and resolving their disputes. It provides a mechanism that is efficient, and it provides a mechanism that the parties know that they get the quality of service that they provide. This is your institution. And so let me just close with saying that when you are utilizing ICC arbitration, you know that there are court members from India. There are court members from around Asia Pacific. There is a vice president of the ICC court from India, and that you can trust the institution. We are in partnership, and with that, I am so grateful to have the Honorable Vice President of India here speaking to you, and as part of our true and important history upon which we continue to focus for the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Salman. And now it's my pleasure and our honor to have the Honorable Vice President of India deliver the keynote address at the 6th ICC India Arbitration Day. Honorable Vice President, if we could please have you.
Bad throat, but not an excuse. Very warm good morning to all of you. President ICC International Court of Arbitration, Ms. Claudia Solomon, a gifted personality committed with passion to arbitration for decades. Her presidentship is a milestone achievement. Mr. Alexander G. Fessas, Secretary General ICC International Court of Arbitration, we heard him. He unfolded his thoughts. Mr. Tejas Chauhan, Director South Asia ICC Arbitration and ADR. I must recognize presence of very distinguished professionals like Ms. Pinky Anand. She has contributed to the system enormously. I would be failing if I start naming people who are present here, including professionals who have impacted the system enormously. I must recognize presence of Mr. Rajit Punhami. He is Secretary Rajya Sabha. His presence would mean a lot, as we will be in a position to take forward certain things on which I would be reflecting. A disappointment to those who are waiting in the wings with my disclaimer. I have been associated with International Court of Arbitration, also ICC Commission on Arbitration. And all that I say may not be construed as supporting an institution as compared to other institutions that are holding the field. But surely I am not doing that also. This inaugural session of 6th Annual ICC India Arbitration Day is coming at a very opportune time. We are in our Amrit Kal. India, home to 1/6 of humanity, is witnessing phenomenal economic rise, already having overtaken the economies of the UK and France. We are positioned as the 5th largest global economy. By turn of this decade, our Bharat would have overtaken the economies of Germany and Japan to be the 3rd largest global economy. That means enough work for those who are in this room, and we need to have a very robust mechanism. Celebration of centenary of ICC India Court is a very glorifying moment. I recall my days both in the commission and in the court. It was learning every time I went there. Getting in touch with people like Professor Tertier, who like ma'am was president of the court, a distinguished arbitrator, Professor Lavnis Bu, Wang Ho, to name only few. So this is a platform much beyond the normal arbitral process you see. Some of the greatest minds on the globe scratch their brains, get together to make contribution to the spine of arbitral process. The journey of the institution has been really great. I was right, the throat is really bad. I would like to extend a very warm welcome to Ms. Claudia Solomon. We have seen rise of women, and that rise globally has been very, very stressful and difficult. Her election marks a momentous occasion as she becomes the first woman to hold this prestigious position, but it is climaxed by another significant event in the centennial year of the ICC International Court of Arbitration. With her extensive experience as an arbitrator and also as an emergency arbitrator, because this particular field will be occupying more space in times to come, she joins the ranks of trailblazing women who have broken barriers in the legal system. We lost just a week back, or less than that, Justice Sandra Day O'Connor, the first woman Supreme Court judge of the United States. They call associate judge. Only the Chief Justice is called Chief Justice. And that took place when the court was 190-year-old. We lost recently one of our very distinguished judges, the first woman judge of the Indian Supreme Court, Fatima Bibi. It took us less than 40 years. You are somewhere in the middle. For me, this is a great personal opportunity to share my thoughts with the people who matter in this country. Presence of everyone here is very impactful, but presence of some who are dominating the arbitral process in this country, who are occupying major space as arbitrators, their absence is equally impactful. This event is a powerful testament to the growing importance of arbitration in India, and this is indispensable if growth has to be on incremental trajectory. We are having explosive economic growth. India's economy is rising as never before. World entities have held out us as a favorite destination of opportunity and investment. The kind of progress we have recorded and the rate at which we are going has amazed the world. There are bound to be disputes. Disputes are natural to commercial activity. They happen because people have different perception about a particular point of view. We therefore are in dire need of having a system that is robust, fast, scientific, effective, and delivers with best of human brains. In this process, I greatly commend the step taken by the ICC for first session titled Recent Trends in Indian Arbitration Leaning Towards Harmony or Disorder. Nothing could be more timely. Nothing could be more appropriate. Nothing could be more to put us in reflective zone. We have to think within. The subject itself offers answer the moment we go deep into it. I am sure discussions and deliberations will take us a long way. Friends, I am sharing my thoughts. Nowhere on the planet, in no other country, in no other system, there is such tight fist grip on the arbitral system by retired judges. In our country, this is writ large. And I am in the sound company of a distinguished jurist, a great legal luminary, a brilliant mind who is changing the landscape of judiciary in this country. I am referring to Chief Justice of India, Chandrachud. He reflected on this. He reflected on the lack of diversity in appointing arbitrators. And what he said next is a very powerful statement. Only he could make it. His deep commitment to cleanse the system, to make the system robust, very functional, he could speak out. It takes a lot of courage to speak out so objectively about a fraternity to which you belong. And he said, retired judges dominate the field. Retired judges dominate the field. He goes on to add, and I salute him for this. He says, while other qualified candidates are overlooked, he implied that this reflects an old boys club mentality within the arbitration space. He elaborated on this by urging the retired judges dominate arbitral appointments, and in the process several promising candidates are overlooked. I pause here for a moment. India is known for its rich human resource. In every domain, in every walk of life, we have people who can take a look at it. But they are not picked up to adjudicate arbitral process. Time has come when we need to introspect, move forward by bringing about necessary changes, including, if required, by legislation. But I cannot but applaud the bold statement, timely statement, a statement that will go a long way in making arbitral process in this country spinally strong. The statement by Chief Justice of India, Chandrachud. Friends, institutional arbitration as compared to ad hoc has many advantages. I've been exposed to that while being in the court. It affords you a mechanism where things are taken care by brilliant mechanism and best of brains in the world. And that is why ICC arbitration is a brand unrivaled. It has stood test of time. However, judicial interventions in this country and elsewhere have reduced arbitration just as a tear in the normal litigation process. If you analyze arbitral decision-making process, it starts with rendering of an award. And by the time you reach making of the award, there is enough scope for judicial interventions. Brilliant minds, some of them are present here, know how to exploit judicial system to get interventions, and they are legitimized by law. So nothing wrong in that. You have an award, and there's a challenge by way of objections. A statutory appeal is provided. If you are a state actor, a public sector undertaking, you are well advised to knock the doors of the highest court, because till that is done, you will not be performing your duty well. So we have to evolve a mechanism where arbitral process does not suffer judicial interventions. I am not aware at the moment what the ICC International Court of Arbitration is doing, but while I was there, they had a unique mechanism of amicable dispute resolution. And that was amazing, that you do not render a judicially enforceable package, which you normally do when you take recourse to arbitral process. But amicable means it is in-house. Brilliant minds who have domain expertise are selected, and they help parties come to a consensual approach. I think time has come when we need to focus more on it. I know when disputes last long, a fraternity to which I belonged at one point of time gains invariably. But our fiscal gain cannot be at the cost of national gain, national prosperity. The world economic order will get up, go to greater heights, there will be evenly spread out progress for everyone if dispute resolution mechanism is fair, equitable, and conclusive. Most contractual stipulations provide arbitration award will be final. But then, in certain legal regimes, ours being the robust one, access to judicial system is a fundamental right. And no contract can have a provision that antidotes it or neutralizes it. So, access to the judicial system in respect of arbitral process or final outcome of arbitration is inescapable. This can be contained only when we go to amicable dispute resolution. I am sure we must work out a mechanism that will help everyone, including economy and the people involved therein. We are living in very tough times. Even before the technological invasion has taken place in full bloom, we are alarmed, we are worried. Disruptive technologies, we like it or not, are part of our life. We are their bedfellows. We'll have to continue to live with them. And disruptive technologies bring in their wake disputes that would require instant resolution. We have one amongst us, the President of ICC India Court of Arbitration, acting as emergency arbitrator. Earlier, decades ago, we used to know only about interventions, interim orders that used to be very fast. But now we have to be faster than the fastest. I don't know whether it is right or wrong, but I read somewhere that someone asked Eisenhower, what is the speed of light? And he reflected, went today, came back yesterday. That kind of speed we'll have to show. Friends, what the Chief Justice of India reflected, one way out will be, we must have arbitral institutions. There has been some growth in our country of arbitral institutions, but those institutions need to take central space. And necessary changes in law are required to be effected to make them more meaningful. This will cleanse the system of something which we don't regard as very wholesome. Because this cannot be a pastime. It has to be a deep professional commitment. You have to be very passionate about arbitral process. The arbitral bar has to be evolved as a standalone, not as a collateral of the main bar. It is a very expert subject. And your contribution in giving cutting edge to growth of economy in our country and in the globe is pivotal. I am sure your deliberations will be extremely useful to come to that level. I do not wish to say more on the subject, given the position that I was associated with International Court of Arbitration and its commission at one point of time, and the position that I hold, both as Vice President of the country and Chairman Rajya Sabha. But I will leave a thought with you. Your session 1 is very critical to the economy of this country. Your session 1 must not be just scratching the surface. You will have to delve deep into it. There will have to be incisive analysis. The diagnosis has to be superb and super, like an MRI, not like an X-ray. That formulation I am waiting for, and I am sure we'll do something, since head of our judiciary has already made reflections about it. I conclude by saying that nothing can be more amusing that the highest court of the land will reflect in more than 36 pages, go to each and every detail of the arbitral award, and then indicate the courts must not probe in detail the arbitral award. Thank you.
felicitation. Thank you very much, sir. Hearing you speak about the value proposition of the ICC, the work of the court, and acknowledgement of the work that the ICC court does is a memory that we will perhaps never forget and carry with us to different parts of the world. We are grateful for your time and insights, and the ICC looks forward to continuing our partnership with India, our stakeholders in India, and to progress arbitration in ADR in the years to come. If I could now request Ms. Claudia Salomon to please felicitate the Honorable Vice President. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. May I once again invite you to please stand up for the national anthem as we mark the closing of the inaugural session.
Jana mana adhinayaka jaya he Bharat bhagya vidhata Punjab Sindh Gujarat Maratha Dravida Utkala Vanga Vindhya Himachal Yamuna Ganga Ujjala Jaladhi Taranga Tava Shubha Name Jage तव शुभ आशीष मांगे